What's up, everyone? Hugh Jackman is back once again to put on the Wolverine mantle in Deadpool and Wolverine, marking an absolutely insane battle. And since we're talking about that, there's no better way to celebrate this Wolverine moment than by bringing you the full story of the character. But what would be the definitive Wolverine story? Simple. Everything you need to know about Wolverine, from beginning to end. Here we'll go through his origins, the evolution of the character in pop culture, his best comic story arcs, his greatest enemies, and a complete breakdown of Wolverine's powers and abilities, including the evolution of his claws and the feats that prove just how ridiculously powerful he really is. We'll also talk about alternate versions, his appearances in comics, movies, and TV series, and much more. In fact, we've already covered several of these topics in previous videos, so now we're bringing everything together to create the most complete Wolverine episode you've ever seen. This is just the first video in a brand new Ultimate series we're launching, focused on the greatest characters in comics and geek culture. So make sure to subscribe, turn on notifications, because there's a lot of amazing content coming later this month. Now grab some popcorn, get comfortable, and let's talk about the toughest mutant in Marvel. Wolverine first appeared in The Incredible Hulk in October 1974, with his full debut happening in Hulk in November of the same year. The character was created by Len Wein and John Romita Sr. At the time, comic books were gaining popularity in Canada, and Marvel's editor-in-chief, Roy Thomas, suggested that Len Wein create a Canadian superhero. That's how the idea of Wolverine was born. Initially, they considered using a different animal as inspiration, but eventually decided that the Wolverine was far more interesting. From there, John Romita Sr. was responsible for designing the character's look, and the rest is history. Right out of the gate, Wolverine made his debut fighting none other than the Hulk. Wolverine's origin was always somewhat confusing, but the most complete version came with the miniseries Origin, released in 2001, written by Joe Quesada and illustrated by Andy Kubert. We learn that Wolverine was born in the late 19th century under the name James, the son of a wealthy Canadian family. Later on, it's strongly implied that his true biological father was Thomas Logan, the family's groundskeeper. After a series of tragedies, James's mutant gene awakens for the first time. His bone claws emerge, and he unknowingly kills his own biological father. Traumatized, he runs away and begins living on his own, adopting the name Logan. Years later, Logan is captured by the Weapon X program, a secret military project designed to create the perfect living weapon. There, scientists discover that he possesses a mutant healing factor, the only one capable of surviving the brutal procedure of bonding his entire skeleton with adamantium, a nearly indestructible metal. That's how the Wolverine we know was born. One of the first major highlights is the Wolverine miniseries, 1982, written by Chris Claremont and illustrated by Frank Miller. In this story, Logan travels to Japan, immerses himself in samurai culture, and experiences a tragic romance with Mariko, one of the most important figures in his life. Then we have Weapon X, arguably the most important Wolverine story ever told. It details the trauma, brainwashing, and experiments that turned Logan into the living weapon he became. Another legendary arc is Old Man Logan, a post-apocalyptic Western-style story that loosely inspired the movie Logan. Here, we see an older, broken Wolverine living in a world ruled by villains. We also have Enemy of the State, where Wolverine is captured by Hydra and the Hand, brainwashed, and turned into a ruthless assassin, fighting several heroes across the Marvel Universe. Wolverine's main villain is without question Sabretooth. He's essentially Wolverine's Joker, his complete opposite. While Logan fights to protect the innocent, Sabretooth kills for pleasure. Other major enemies include Silver Samurai, Lady Deathstrike, Omega Red, William Stryker, Magneto. Each of them represents a piece of Wolverine's traumatic past. Wolverine's main power is his healing factor, which allows him to regenerate from nearly any injury, slows his aging, and makes him resistant to diseases and poisons. His skeleton is coated with an indestructible material, protecting his bones. His retractable claws, 3 in each hand, can cut through almost anything. In addition, Wolverine possesses superhuman senses, enhanced strength, agility, and reflexes, mastery of multiple martial arts, extreme mental resistance, and his infamous berserker rage, which makes him even more dangerous in combat. It's worth remembering that every time Wolverine pops his claws, they tear through his own flesh. It hurts, but his healing factor fixes it almost instantly. There are countless moments in the comics that showcase Wolverine's absurd level of power. A classic example occurs in Uncanny X-Men number 133, when he single-handedly takes down multiple Hellfire Club mercenaries, terrifying one of them so badly that the guy surrenders before the fight even starts. Another iconic moment happens in World War Hulk, where Hulk himself admits that he can't kill Wolverine, only knock him out. If even Hulk can't kill him, that says a lot. At one point, someone literally wonders, why can't I just tear this guy apart? And Wolverine thinks to himself something like, he doesn't need to know it's because of my indestructible skeleton. And just like that, Logan breaks free, lands a precise strike, and escapes, once again proving that Wolverine is practically a god in combat. They simply can't tear Wolverine apart because of his adamantium skeleton. And that's not an exaggeration. One of the most insane examples of this happens in Logan number 3, 2008. In that story, Wolverine has his heart ripped out by the ghost of Lieutenant Warren from World War II. The guy literally holds Logan's heart in his hand and even says boom, as if it's all over. But it isn't. Wolverine regenerates his internal organs, recreates his heart, gets back up, and hunts the guy down to defeat him. Yes, Wolverine literally has his heart torn out and still stays standing and wins the fight. Easily one of the most absurd and incredible moments in his entire history. One of the things that makes Wolverine so dangerous is, of course, his adamantium claws. They're practically indestructible and have proven their power countless times. In Infinity Gauntlet number 4, 1991, Wolverine stabs Thanos in the chest, and anyone who knows comic book Thanos understands how insane that is, but it doesn't stop there. In Savage Wolverine number 5, Logan pierces Hulk's skin, driving both claws into his head. And this isn't rare. Whenever Hulk and Wolverine fight, Logan manages to injure the Green Goliath. He's also made Gladiator bleed, a character with strength comparable to Superman. In Annihilator's Earthfall, Wolverine drives his claws straight through Gladiator's shoulder. And if that wasn't enough, in Wolverine vs. Thor number 2, 2009, Logan manages to impale Thor from behind. Even if Thor wasn't going all out, the fact that Wolverine can injure the God of Thunder says everything. Beyond regenerating internal organs, Wolverine can also regenerate limbs. In Wolverine number 44, his hands and feet are severed. They're roughly stitched back into place, and that's it. His body simply regenerates. Want something even crazier? In Logan number 2, 2008, a nuclear bomb explodes directly over Wolverine in Hiroshima. Everything around him is annihilated. On the final page, we see Wolverine emerging from the blast, completely burned, his skeleton visible and regenerating. He literally turns to ashes, and minutes later, he's standing again. In Wolverine number 126, during yet another brutal fight with Sabretooth, Logan delivers a line that perfectly defines his resilience. We give and receive wounds that would have killed a dozen ordinary men. In other words, blows that would kill any normal human simply aren't enough to stop these two monsters. Returning to Savage Wolverine number 5, beyond injuring Hulk, Wolverine accomplishes something even rarer. He defeats him, at least temporarily. He leaps, drives both claws into Hulk's head, knocks him unconscious, and wins the fight. Hulk doesn't die, of course, but the fact that Wolverine can bring him down at all is insane. At the peak of all this madness is Wolverine's berserker mode. In Uncanny X-Men number 96, a demon lord is about to kill the X-Men, causing Wolverine to completely lose control. The narration says something like, "You can push a Wolverine only so far. After that, it will go straight for your throat and won't stop until one of you is dead." Wolverine goes into a full berserker rage and brutally kills the demon. Later, filled with regret, he tells Professor X that he thought he had learned to control himself, but he hadn't. In another fight, against the Wendigo, the narration describes Wolverine becoming pure fury, an unstoppable machine of destruction, ignoring pain, exhaustion, and injuries. One of the most insane berserker moments happens in Wolverine. Exit wounds, when he faces Venom. Venom attacks, tries to devour him, taunts him, until Logan finally unleashes the berserker rage. The result? Venom completely defeated, unconscious on the ground, while Wolverine barely remembers what happened afterward. He even says it took him several minutes to calm down. If that doesn't define Wolverine's absolute savagery, nothing does. With all of this, one thing is clear. Wolverine is one of the hardest mutants to kill in all of Marvel. He's not Omega level, but he's easily one of the most dangerous and durable combatants in comic book history. We've covered his origin, his enemies, his powers, and his most absurd feats. Now, with all that established, the next step is to dive into Wolverine's alternate versions across the multiverse. And that's where the madness truly begins.